Kong has had, safe to say, a large amount of changes these past couple of years. Going from Skull Island to Godzilla vs. Kong, our big hairy ape grew an additional 233 feet in height and gained a Godzilla dorsal plate infused axe. Then going to Godzilla X Kong, he donned the Beast Glove as a result of his injury from Shimo. Nearing the end of the film, Kong recovers his axe from Scar King and now has both the Beast Glove and his axe at his disposal. With the next monstrous film being confirmed to release in 2027 and Godzilla being theorized to devolve as his evolution in GXK is only temporary, this fight could very well happen. However, it's only 2024 and we still have to wait 3 more years. We're going to be taking Godzilla's base form in GXK and pitting him against Kong with his axe and Beast Glove. We all saw the smackdown Godzilla gave Kong in Hong Kong despite being basically deprived of radiation. But the Godzilla in GXK is a completely different story. But will Kong's weapons be enough to defeat Godzilla, let alone put up a fight? And before we dive in, if you like content ranging from kaijus, dinosaurs, and sci-fi, then this is just the place for you, so consider dropping a like and subscribing. Now, could Kong with his axe and Beast Glove defeat Godzilla? Before we even get into the categories, let's go over what Kong's wielding in this fight. His axe is going to be the better of the 2 weapons here. The axe, while dull, won't be doing much to Goji at all. It was causing sparks to fly from Mechagodzilla and it was able to knock him over. Now his axe when charged is going to be much more useful. We've seen how an axe when charged eviscerated Mechagodzilla, stripping him limb from limb. When charged even more, it was able to stab into Godzilla and stunned him when striking him in the head. The offense part of it isn't the only thing it comes with, allowing Kong to block Godzilla's atomic breath, which then charges it even further. It was also able to block Shimo's frostbite blast, and when the axe was frozen solid, withstood no damage. Now when it comes to his Beast Glove, it boosts his punching power even further, being able to knock Godzilla over with an uppercut and stun him heavily when he was on the ground. Now for those who want to say it doubles his strength, this comes from a statement that says quote unquote twice the fun, so take that as you will. On the defensive side, it was also able to, like the axe, block Shimo's frostbite blast. Now that we've gone over the weapons for Kong, let's dive right in. Strength. When you're dealing with 2 of the most powerful titans in the monsterverse, they're definitely going to be packing some weight and power behind these blows. Starting off with Kong, he was able to stun Godzilla on multiple occasions, whether it was in the water, on the carrier, or in Hong Kong. When shoulder checking Godzilla, he was able to knock him into the water. He was also able to hold Mechagodzilla's arm back and his tail. Kong easily manhandled the Warbat and slammed it into the other one. With his glove, he was able to rock Godzilla in his evolved form and stun him severely. He was able to lay Scar King out with a single punch of the dome despite it being a cheap shot. Nearing the end of the final fight, he was able to hold Scar King in the air with simply one arm, who probably weighs in at around 60,000 to even 70,000 tons. Now when it comes to the Big G, while Kong is one of the strongest titans in the monsterverse, Kong's got some working out to do. Godzilla, while completely drained of energy in GVK, was able to send Kong to the ground with simply a slap to the face. He showed his brute strength further when barreling into Kong in Hong Kong. And of course when he locked in, throwing Kong with merely his jaw over 1,000 meters. When fighting Mechagodzilla, despite being almost completely drained of radiation, he won the initial clash between the 2. Now going into an actual healthy and fresh Godzilla, he was able to grapple with Ghidorah and Antarctica. His Boston feats won't really be usable here considering he was massively amped. In GXK, Scylla was basically a chewing toy for him, sending her all over Rome. Throughout the rest of GXK, he's amped, but we're not even done with Godzilla yet. In Godzilla Aftershock, he was going toe-to-toe with the Muto Prime and stood completely upright with the 135,000 metric ton beast on his back. And keep in mind, this is a much weaker Godzilla than the one we see in the beginning of GXK. While Kong is very strong, and the Beast Glove will amp that further, Godzilla is still the stronger opponent. When it comes to speed, Godzilla is surprisingly going to take this category. Godzilla is described to run at subsonic speeds when charging at Scylla in Rome. He was able to blitz Kong in both round 2 and 3 of their fight in Hong Kong on multiple occasions. Not to mention when Godzilla was on all 4s, Kong wasn't even able to fight back. Kong is said to run at around 400 miles per hour, but you could argue it to be higher as he kept up with the evolved version of Godzilla to be at least equal. But judging that Godzilla is able to run at subsonic speeds and blitz Kong multiple times, Godzilla is the faster of the 2. When it comes to ranged weaponry, this is pretty obviously Godzilla. His atomic breath and nuclear pulse definitely outweigh any objects Kong might throw at Godzilla. Maybe Kong will hit him with another pocket sand, but besides that, Kong's either gonna have to block Godzilla's atomic breath, run away from it, and there's not much he's gonna do against the nuclear pulse. Agility wise, both of our opponents are quite agile, but this definitely goes to Kong. Godzilla is seen dashing into a building, but is able to quickly turn around and slam Kong to the ground with a tail swipe, even being able to go on all 4s and even outpace Kong. In GXK, we see him being able to jump his fat into the air and slam onto Scylla. Very impressive stuff, but Kong is able to dodge Godzilla and Shimo's ranged attacks, jump from building to building, and swing from branches in GXK. Despite Godzilla actually being surprisingly agile for a big boy like himself, Kong is the more agile opponent. Durability is going to play a massive factor into this fight, and I mean, this category isn't remotely close. Godzilla has tanked the Permian extinction asteroid, nukes to the face, blows from the Muto Prime, who's even stronger than Kong with not much struggle at all, being able to tank Ghidorah's gravity beams quite easily, and when it comes to their fight in Hong Kong, Kong was only stunning him throughout their fight. The axe that sliced up Mechagodzilla was only charged by Godzilla's 50% powered atomic breath for a couple of seconds, yet the axe that cut into Godzilla was charged into Hollow Earth for hours and powered by Godzilla's much stronger atomic breath. Not to mention it being charged a second time and striking him in the head and merely being stunned. If Kong was to get blasted by Ghidorah's gravity beams, I'd be making burgers out of him at the next cookout. Physical capabilities. Godzilla comes with his powerful arms with extremely sharp claws, being able to cut into Kong quite easily. His tail is extremely powerful as well, slamming into Ghidorah and slamming Kong to the ground. We could use Godzilla one-shotting the male Muto, but he had a completely different tail back then. His arguably most important aspect is his jaw. His bite is extremely powerful, being able to completely rip Ghidorah's head off clean, slam Kong off of him, and throw Kong with only his jaw a massive distance. Kong has just as many, packing his trusty 1-2 with his massive arms, and he's able to drop-kick opponents as well. His axe swings allow for a more powerful strike, and even when it's not charged, it was capable of knocking Mechagodzilla off of his feet. His Beast Glove allows for his punches to be amped further. Overall, both have many means of fighting up close, so physical capabilities is a tie. Both Godzilla and Kong are basically the smartest titans in the monsterverse, but who takes the edge? Kong is able to understand sign language from Gia and Spanish from the girl in the Skull Island show. He tried to reason with Godzilla in GXK to no success, and showed emotions such as compassion, empathy, and sadness. Godzilla, on the other hand, I wouldn't say he's Kong level intelligent, but he's pretty smart. He's able to understand that he needs to team up with Kong to fight Mechagodzilla, as they were both far too weak at the time to take him on one-on-one. He was able to also understand that the threat of Shimo, Scar King and his army, was no threat to fight alone, and fought alongside Mothra and Kong. When Kong was trying to reason with him, it's not that he didn't understand, it's more that he was just really pissed off. Godzilla is able to remember and cherishes Serizawa's sacrifice to amp Godzilla in King of the Monsters. Overall, Godzilla is definitely smart, but Kong is probably slightly smarter. Now when it comes to their battle intelligence, Godzilla is clearly the smarter one in battle. Judging that he's been around for hundreds of millions of years, while Kong is only around 70 years old, Godzilla has so much more experience. Not only that, but he's fought kaiju much more powerful than the ones Kong has fought. Kong was able to survive the horrors of Skull Island, and if you want more into what lies in Skull Island, check out either of these videos right here, and don't forget to subscribe for more kaiju, dinosaur, and sci-fi content. However, Godzilla is just much more skilled and smarter in the heat of combat. After locking in against Kong, he switched to a fighting style that Kong couldn't fight against, that being when Godzilla went on all fours. Not to mention having the time of his life in the anti-gravity fight, being exceptional in the water, and transferring that over to the anti-gravity. Godzilla is able to anticipate incoming attacks and counter them, such as in 2014, and he has much more experience and has fought kaiju that are much more powerful. Lastly, we've arrived at abilities, and even with the addition of the Beast Glove and Axe, this isn't close. Kong can punch, swing with his axe, and punch again with his Beast Glove, and sometimes swing with electricity behind it. Godzilla has his atomic breath, which burns at a minimum of 20,000 degrees Celsius and is probably much hotter when fully powered, reaching temperatures nearing 100,000 degrees Celsius, if not more. Godzilla, while low on radiation, was still powerful enough to channel enough energy to drill directly through the Earth to challenge Kong. His nuclear pulse was able to one-shot the Muto Prime, though this wasn't the standard nuclear pulse we see in GXK. The radius of his normal nuclear pulse is said to be 30 miles, but that's most likely the EMP range of it, but this would still very well fry Kong. He has heightened senses, being able to detect where every single Titan is throughout the Earth thanks to Mothra's sacrifice. He's also able to detect that Kong was in the Hollow Earth as to their agreement in Godzilla vs. Kong. He has telepathy, being able to command the other Titans as their alpha. He's able to absorb nuclear energy, as showcased when absorbing the nuclear bomb point blank and sucking the power plant dry. There's many more, but these aren't relevant in a one-on-one fight. While Kong has his axe and Beast Glove at his disposal, Godzilla still takes the cake for abilities. Now that we've gone through every single category, let's go back to what the video is all about. Could Kong defeat Godzilla with his weapons? And well, probably not. He'd have a better time fighting Godzilla in Godzilla vs. Kong, as he was depleted of radiation, but this Godzilla in GXK is fully rested and is perfectly healthy. Godzilla is stronger, faster, far more durable, and has the power to one-shot Kong with his atomic breath or nuclear pulse. In this scenario, Godzilla isn't toying with Kong, he's going all out. This is life or death. he's not going to be laughing at Kong or treating the fight as whatever. Just like how we saw in round 3, Godzilla is going on all fours. This isn't saying he'd struggle fighting normally either. Whether it's bipedally or croc mode, Kong is dead. Godzilla is jumping for Christ's sake. No one is safe at this point. Unlike in GVK, Godzilla, when firing his atomic breath, if Kong holds up his axe to block it, he'd just stop firing it, realizing that it charges Kong's axe. Kong's Beast Glove won't be too much of a factor either. It's not some super amp that will make his punches one-shot KOs. I mean, it took 12 punches to daze Godzilla, and while this was in the evolved form, Base Evolved's durability wouldn't be higher than Godzilla in his base at the time because he just used all the radiation to evolve. Kong has no means of killing Godzilla. Any attack he throws at Godzilla will only make him angrier. Godzilla would blitz Kong on all fours, using his brute strength to his advantage, slamming onto Kong with his weight. Godzilla's durability is unmatched here, and I don't see a scenario where Kong wins at all. A healthy Godzilla is a problem for everyone. And let's just say Godzilla gets in a rough spot, his atomic breath and nuclear pulse are always ready for use. Kong is no pushover, but this is Godzilla we're talking about. He's the alpha for a reason. And there we have it. Pairing Kong with his weapons would allow him to fight better than his previous encounters, but he'd still be no match for a serious, angry Godzilla. Well, what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you ever want to directly throw your points at me, feel free to join the Discord to chat about all things kaiju, dinosaurs, and sci-fi. I thank you for making it this far into the video this week, and I hope you guys enjoyed it because you'll want to see what's in store next week, where I'm starting a new series of content for you guys. What if? And for our first one, we'll be seeing what would have happened if Godzilla had finished off Kong in Hong Kong, and what would have transpired after. And before we go, remember what Godzilla told Manila.
Godzilla says that I should learn to fight my own battles, you know.
I created a monster, cause nobody wants to see monster no more. They want shady, I'm chopped liver. Well, if you want shady, this is what I'll give you. A little bit of weed.